Warehousing doesn't need more noise. It needs fewer points of failure. So in Q1, we focused on the work that quietly slows teams down, and we removed it. Hi everyone, I'm Fred Thompson, CTO at Clarus WMS, and thanks for joining us. Today is a practical walkthrough of what the team built during Q1. We'll show the product, explain the thinking, and keep it grounded in day-to-day warehouse reality. As we go, drop any questions in the comments. We won't be doing a live Q&A today, but the team will follow up in the comments after the webinar and make sure you get clear answers. Let's start where pressure shows up first, on the handheld. If handheld workflows are clunky, everything suffers. Accuracy, pace, confidence. So in Q1, we tightened the experience and made configuration faster, clearer, and easier to roll out consistently. We put a lot of hard work into making handheld configuration faster and harder to get wrong. Josh, show the new implementations view and the work builder improvements.
Thanks, Fred. I'm Josh, lead front-end developer here at Clarus. Today we're going to be looking at the recent improvements we've made to the handheld configuration screen, all designed to make your life easier and make it faster and more efficient to make changes to your handheld workflows.
Okay, so this is the handheld device configuration screen. So at Clarus, we have a handheld device app, which runs on the scanner or handheld devices used by your warehouse floor staff. So this screen can be used to configure the app so it appears however you like for those users. The app can be used to do various processes within the warehouse. So you could have a flow for picking, you could have a flow for dispatch, loading, anything really that your floor staff would need to do, you can configure a flow in the handheld app to do that. And this screen is how you do that. So we've recently made some improvements to this screen to make it easier for you to actually configure that handheld app for your users. So the first thing I want to show you here is how to add a new process into an existing flow. So we've got a picking flow. So to get to that picking flow, all we need to do is click through picking, and then we'll go into one of our picking flows. We'll go through the screens in that. So on the left here, you've got the screens in that flow. So you can see we're asking the user to select an account, which is going to be picked for, and then we're actually going to take them into the task. And we'll do a full pick task. And here's the screen they would actually see when they're starting to pick that full pick. So they would scan the pallet, they would scan the location. And at this point, after scanning the location, what we're going to do is drop in what we call a process, which are a library of pre-built functionality, which are commonly required in a warehouse, which you can drop into any of your flows or implementations to instantly give you that functionality easily and quickly. So here we've got the full pick task flow, and we're on the screen where the user would be asked to scan the pallet that they're picking from. What we can do here is we can hover over the component that we want to add it below. We can type in image capture, and it will give us the processes that are returned from that search. And we can now see we've got a button dropped straight into that screen to let the user capture an image as part of their full pick. So it might be that the pallet is damaged or any other reason they want to take a picture during that pick process. So as you can see, all we've had to do is a couple of clicks and we've now got a button dropped in there. If the user then clicks that capture image button, they're taken straight to the screen, which lets them actually upload a photo from their device, which could be a photo they've taken previously, or it could be a photo that they take at the point of clicking that button. That image would then be attached to that task and it can be searched or audited later on. So image capture is just one of the many processes we have available in the library. It's something we're always adding new commonly used processes to make your life easier when you're setting up these flows for your users. So now we're looking at the process library. We can see we've got various processes in here which can be easily dropped in to your handheld implementation to instantly give you that functionality. You can see we've got descriptions under each processes, which tells you what that process is used for. And yeah, it's as simple as opening that process library, clicking a button, and you've got the functionality. Once saved, your users will instantly be able to use that process to make their workflow more efficient. And then for anyone wanting to get a bit more granular, a bit more technical, you can actually add individual components to an existing screen or flow to give you that finer control over the floor staff's experience. So as you can see, we've got the components categorized on the left here. So for example, if you wanted to display a product barcode to a user after they'd scanned the product, you can click barcode on the left here, and then you see the component titled display product barcode. You can just click that button, it will drop it into the screen you're currently in, and there you go. The user would then see that component when they next do their flow. So as you can see, this is really powerful. It gives you the ability to fully customize your handheld app to your business's needs, to your floor staff's needs. So for anyone who may have used this screen before, you'll notice there are quite a few changes. We've recently made some big improvements to this screen to make it easier for you to customize your flows. As you can see, the main difference you'll see immediately when you visit this screen is we've got this device preview in the middle of the screen there. And we've made this change so you can more accurately see how the handheld app or how the changes you've made to the handheld app would actually appear to your users on the floor. So we've made it easier to edit and configure components. All you have to do is hover over a component and click the pencil icon, and you'll be given the ability to configure that component however you like. So you can change the heading text for a screen, for example. We've also made it easier to arrange the screens on your flow however you like. You can now hover over a screen, click the down arrow, and it will move down the list, and you can do that as many times as you like and arrange the screens however you like. It just makes it nice, quick, and easy to customize the flow to your liking. So some of our users have multiple handheld implementations. They might have multiple warehouses and they want one warehouse to use a certain implementation. So we've added some functionality to make managing that easier. We've added this duplicate flow button, and you can now copy a flow from one implementation to the other. So it might be that you've added some functionality for one warehouse and then you realize, oh yeah, I'd like to add that for the other warehouse as well. No more manual work to add that flow to the other warehouse. You just simply select which implementation you want to send it to, click save, and the other implementation and the other warehouse will then have that functionality as well. So once you've made the changes to your handheld app, we've now added the functionality to be able to preview it. So you can see we've got this button in the top right here called preview. You click that and it'll give you a more focused view of the handheld app, and you can click through that app just as your users would do on the warehouse floor, and you can look at your changes to make sure they look right. So you can click through here and you can see it looks exactly the same as it would on the handheld device. So without the ability to edit or anything like that, it's just purely the visual preview of the handheld app that the user would see. Another upgrade we've made to the screen is made it much easier to configure your flow. On the left here, you can see we've got a new flow configuration menu. And here we've got all the buttons and menus you need to configure that flow to your desire. So we've got flow inputs, flow outputs, and duplicate flow, which I just showed you. And then if you want to add a completely new flow from scratch, you can do that by clicking add new flow. And another thing we've done is make it much easier to manage your flows at a high level. So we've got this flows list down here that you can open. And here is just a list of every flow in your current implementation. It's searchable, so you can search for a particular flow. And you can also, if you like, duplicate your flows or remove any flows which you don't need anymore from this list as well. So it just makes it really easy to, at a high level, big picture view, see your flows, manage them, and keep things nice and clean.
So those are the improvements we've made to the handheld configuration screen. If you're a user, please do go and have a look. This has really been designed to make your life easier. But if you do have any questions or want any guidance, please reach out to our support team on the chat and they'll be able to guide you through it. And that's all from me. Back to Fred.
Thanks, Josh. That's the standard. Easier to configure, easier to repeat, harder to get wrong. Like, once the flow is cleaner, the next risk is task selection. Task selection errors aren't dramatic, they're just constant. Wrong mode, wrong task, wrong workflow. And suddenly you're correcting, you're not operating. That's why we introduced activity types, to make the right choice obvious in the moment and improve tracking behind the scenes. Task selection errors are small, frequent, and expensive. Activity types are designed to cut that out. Bill, show how activity types work on the handheld.
Thanks, Fred. Hi guys, my name's Bill. I'm one of the product owners here at Clarus, and I'm going to be taking you to activity tasks and ancillary tracking types. This is basically a way to group activity modes or tasks in the system under specific menu items, so it's easier for HHD users to access them when they're on the handheld devices. Okay, and now let's have a look and see how that works. So you can see here currently, I've got my HHD or handheld device, as we like to call it, our menu in front of us. Currently, there's a lot of different flows or implementations that a user can click on. This can be quite overwhelming when it's just specific task types that you want to be able to do. So what you can see here is our activity screen with our activity types and ancillary tasks. This allows us to group the activities or operations that the user is going to be doing under specific equipment in this case, or different task types that a user will want to access. So if we have a look into PPT, which is a powered pump truck, we can see all the different options that we would expect a user to be doing with a powered pump truck. This could be picking, this could be goods out, this could be goods in, or cross-dock receive. Much more simplified menu where we're not going to get confused about what things we should be doing and shouldn't be doing. So as well as activity types, we've also got ancillary tasks. These are things that aren't tracked as tasks in the system, so we won't create transactions or task records, but you want to be able to capture them so you know what users are doing when they're not doing system-led activities. For example, this could be going on a break, making sure people are taking their breaks, capturing how long they are, doing pallet rework, rewrapping pallets, training staff, so if people need to take longer amounts of time away from the warehouse to do additional training, operating a scissor lift, which can impact operations. So what's really nice about all of these is they're completely customizable. These are just some of the examples that our customers that currently might use, but you can add whatever you like on here and have as many of these as you want. These can be individual menu items, you can have sub-menus within other menus, go as deep and as wide as you need it to be. So here you can see our user activity grid. So this is where we would then track what activities that a user has been doing. This could be by the warehouse, the specific user that is attached to the handheld device user, the activity modes that people have completed, and the different activity types, whether it's something related to tasks or something that isn't system-led. We can also see when that was started and when it ended. This allows you to build a really complex report of what someone has been up to in the warehouse throughout the day, but also as a warehouse as a whole. This is all exportable, so you can download this and create CSVs and any reports that you might need to off the back. There will be some standard reports that will be in our system already for you to be able to use. So what does this all mean? This gives you better labor management across your system by understanding exactly what users are doing throughout the day, effectively using your resource in the areas where tasks might stay longer, and removing people where not as many tasks are needed to be completed. That's everything for this feature. If you'd like to set that up, you can access this now on Clarus. If you need any help or support or guidance, please reach out to our support. Back to you, Fred.
Thanks, Bill. Clear choices, fewer wrong turns, better data, all without slowing the team down. Next, automations, because admin is where time disappears quietly. Automation should feel boring, but in a good way. Things should happen when they should, without chasing, forwarding, or manual sending. In Q1, we shipped enhanced automations, including better ways to automate document outputs. That includes email automations, where you can automate invoice emails triggered on payment, dispatch note PDFs, CSV exports such as stock adjustments. You control the subject, the recipient, file name, and template selection. PDF generation runs asynchronously, allowing these and CSV exports to be delivered much faster. Automation should remove admin without removing control. Danny, show the enhanced automation flow and how document output fits into it.
Cheers, Fred. Hi, everyone. I'm Danny. I work on the solutions team, mainly dealing with data, reports, and automation. Today, I'm going to be showing you the automations, including some of the new features that we've got available.
Automations have been a part of Clarus pretty much since the beginning. Accessible on the front end. Really, really nice feature. The great thing about them, the fact that you can, as a user, access them. You don't need to wait for any development. You don't need to raise a ticket or anything like that at all. It's literally there as a feature, as standard. About certain automations today, one of them being when a sales order is completed, we can send a file. This might be a confirmation of what's been ordered and what's been shipped, and that then might go to your supplier or your customer. Another one is going to be sending an email once your invoice has been confirmed. Attached to this email will be the invoice PDF, which can go directly to your customer or to an accounts payable team. And then the other one is also a dispatch note being sent. Maybe you want to send this ahead of time. Maybe you're used to downloading it from the system, attaching it to the email address, typing out the email address, sending it over to your customer. Whereas this will automate the whole process. Literally, your stock has been shipped, and as soon as that's completed, whether via the handheld or the front end, the document will then go directly to the email address of your choice. So you can see on the left-hand menu here, automations are accessed just near the bottom, a couple of options above the settings panel. I've got these ones pre-set up here, but first I'm going to go into as I'm creating a new automation just to give you a bit of a run around of what options are available. So we're going to click on new, give it a name, so automation test. Now, what I like about the whole automation feature itself is just how simple the layout is. Literally on the left-hand side, when this happens, which we'll look at the trigger points in a second, do this, and that's obviously your end, either destination or outcome. So when this happens on the left, we're going to click on the trigger menu, and you can see here there's a whole host of options. There's different stages of when the invoice has been processed, when the pick list has been cancelled, completed, created. There's some automations around some of our integrations in there as well. When receipt, completed, cancelled, or created. Same with sales orders. You can see a bit of a pattern there. Basically, when we would call them core processes in Clarus happen, do this, and then the output, you've now got 4 different options. So we've got an option to create a file and send to email, which is one of our new features, which includes the dispatch note automation that I'll show you shortly. Create a file and upload to FTP. So this would be where I was talking about a template you might have where you want to send that to your supplier or your customer to say, yeah, you send product 1, 2, 3 with X amount of quantity, and then they get a confirmation file which uploads automatically into their system. We can send a dispatch note to email as well, and then we can trigger a web hook, which is more related to your APIs and sending a query to a location or a URL that then your developer or IT teams can interpret the data and do as they wish. Okay, so that's the basis of how an automation works in the system. We can also add conditions to this, which is quite nice, so you can filter out. So maybe you want an automation triggering once a sale does completed, but only for account 1. So that will ensure that only account 1 has this particular file or this particular document being sent at any given time. You can add further conditions to that as well, and we're adding to these all the time. Some of the new recent ones we've done is a postcode, which is a really nice feature because you can really dig down into the nitty-gritty detail and make it really, really bespoke. And then to follow up with the actions on this side, we want to send a file to FTP. You can literally choose a bespoke file name, so select the user it's going to go to, and then this is where you would choose your template, which again, it can be created from a bespoke file. This could be CSV, it could be XML, it could be EDI, and all this is controllable and editable by yourself. So if you had a developer in-house or again an IT team that felt comfortable using some coding language, we use Liquid, which is a templating language, and all Clarus fields are available to be exported. So you can create really cool custom bespoke templates that can be sent out. Okay, so that's the basic setup of what and function of what an automation does and what features we have available on it. I'll talk a little bit more about the ones I've set up, and then I'll take you through that and show you what it actually does. So automations, I'm going to trigger 2 at the same time, which hopefully will show the fact that you can run multiple instances of these at the same time and completely run them in the background, forget about them. You don't have to worry about them. You know that they're going to run and send and do what they need to do in the background without your intervention. So the 2 that we're going to link together on the sales order is going to be, once a sales order has completed, send a file over. So this is the file I've been talking about, where it's just going to be a confirmation file going to your customer. And then secondly, a dispatch note is going to send to an email address as well. So we're going to go over to goods out, sales order. I've got a order that I've created beforehand with some test addresses, a couple of references and some notes. You can see my 3 products are there. My quantity is already set. So I'm going to process this to a pick. Okay, I'm going to go over to the pick list and I'm just going to complete this as normal. Okay, picks are completed. I've now got 3 dispatch tasks. Now this fits into the automation that we have set up when a sales order is completed. So basically what will happen is when I complete, so the first task's done, nothing will happen. Second task done, nothing still will happen. And finally, the third task is done. That now is the sales order of a status of completed. That then triggers the automations we've just been looking at. So if I then go to my documents folder, you can see here that a CSV and a dispatch note have both been sent out exact same time as each other. So the dispatch note is on its way to my email address, which we'll look at shortly, and the CSV file has gone to an SFTP location for a customer to retrieve and do as they need into their system. So we can take a quick look at this just to show you what type of data it outputs. So it's a nice simple CSV. Give us the 3 lines that we looked at the order. To give us the address details. This particular one's got a batch. There's the quantities and the products. We've added some notes onto there. And we've even got line numbers, which will be used in some certain systems and ERPs. Okay, so we're now going to look back at my emails because as well as the file that we've just reviewed, we were also sending out a dispatch note. So you can see it's come through to my email. It's taken the subject and the email body of just what I set up against the automation. And we can just quickly view that again here. So once a sales order is completed, send dispatch note to email. So I was able to pick my email address as the recipient. There's my subject. There's my email body. And then there is my dispatch note attached. So both dispatch note and the file were both sent at the same time, at the same trigger point, all without any intervention apart from just making sure the sales order is completed. This also works if your user base or your customers want you to use HHD. So if you're completing HHD and you actually don't really get involved with completing the tasks like I was showing on the front end there, they could be scanning the last pallets out onto their truck. As soon as the last task's completed, again, this triggers in the background without anyone in the office having to do anything. It's all processed. You wouldn't know anything about it. It would go straight to your customers and you wouldn't have to intervene at all. And it's a very, very slick and smooth process and can be edited as you've just seen as well. Similar to the dispatch note being sent, another automation I'd like to show is just the email invoice being sent. So same process in that once a trigger point is hit in Clarus, once this happens, so in this case, once the invoice is paid, we're going to send an invoice to email. And I've done literally the same setup you've just viewed. Look at the drop down here. You can see that I have the Clarus default and also a second Clarus default, which is what I've created in Liquid. So you can actually pick and choose between what template you want to go to, what customer and where. So this is great for if you have a customer that wants something really bespoke, they want a lot of extra information on or a particular detail that's really important to them. We can then come over to the conditions that we looked at earlier and make sure that it only goes to account ID 1 on this template. Then you would create a second automation, which would go to account ID 2, and it would use the other template. And these templates, as mentioned, also use HTML and Liquid to create them, which I can show briefly under our template section. Okay, so this is the Clarus default invoice stack template that we've created using HTML and Liquid. Again, there's a little bit of a learning curve there, but the beauty of it is that we can literally come into this now. It's readily available on the front end. There's no development time needed. We don't need to wait for anything. If you're comfortable and confident, we can go in here and add a field or slightly change the layout of it, how it looks, save it, and then that template is immediately available on the automation. So because this is set up, it's now filtered only to this account. I'm just going to save the changes. I'm going to use the default one that's on the system instead here. I'm going to go to invoices. Okay, I'm going to use this demo invoice. All the charges are built up over my charging periods, just different rental charges. I think there's a few RHD charges as well. So you can see as the total. I'm going to mark it as paid, and then that is going to go through to my email, similar to how the dispatch note reached me before. Okay, so the invoice that we were working with has been paid. You can see it has a status of paid. We've submitted it. And if I now go to my email inbox, you can see that the invoice is attached, similar to the dispatch note that we looked at before, where the subject, some text in the email body, and then the PDF attachment there. So all come through. As I say, this is all customizable, and we can create any bespoke invoice that's needed for various different customers.
Okay, so that was automations in a nutshell. Hopefully you found that really useful, and you can see the efficiencies, improvements, speed, and how it can operate in the background without you having to touch anything. If you need any help with any of this, or you found any of it interesting, feel free to get in touch. We can help you with any upcoming projects you might have and see how we can help you in that scenario. Thanks very much. Back over to you, Fred.
Thanks, Danny. This is how you scale output without scaling admin. Right, let's move from internal workflows to the wider ecosystem around Clarus. Modern operations don't run on one system, and integrations only help if they're reliable and easy to manage. In Q1, we continue building out our marketplace integrations so Clarus fits cleanly into the platforms you already rely on, and without brittle workarounds. Today, we'll show a real example, Clarus to Shopify. Rather than talk about integrations in the abstract, let's show a real one. Jack, walk us through Clarus to Shopify, what connects, and how it's managed.
Thanks, Fred. So today I'm going to demonstrate marketplace connections via Shopify. This is really beneficial to you and your customers, as it means that their orders are instantly uploaded onto Clarus automatically. This means no CSV imports or manual data entry.
Okay then, so let's jump in. So the first thing that I'm going to do is go to settings and then integrations. I'm going to scroll down to all of my integrations that are available within the connection, and I'm going to find Shopify. There are then a couple things that I need to set up with the integration. So I'm going to set in my integration name. I then need to go and get my host name. So you get this from Shopify itself, and it is the first part of our store name at the top there. So I'm going to copy that and paste it there. I'm then going to select my account and the warehouse that I want to distribute from. The integrations that I have set up previously are selectable. Carrier mapping pulls through the carriers from Shopify on the sales order. Integration product mapping pulls through the products so that they're all set up and available within Clarus. And then the shipping rate mapping allows us to select the specific service. So whatever service your customer has ordered, whether that's next day delivery or 48-hour tracked, that is what pulls through that information from Shopify. So I can then connect my Shopify account. So I'm going to press connect, and you can see at the top here that the connection has been made and it is now connected. So now the connection has been made, I'm going to jump over to my mapping groups and just check that they have automatically mapped. So I've gone to product mapping groups, and I can see that my supply chain mug and supply chain keyring have the product code in Clarus, and they also have mapped to the product codes in Shopify. Now that has been confirmed, I can jump over to Shopify and create my sales order. So I'm going to order one of each. So now I'm going to create myself as a customer to get the order delivered to myself. And you can see my customer details on the right hand side. I'm then going to mark it as paid. When it's marked as paid, that will then send the order through to Clarus, and we'll be able to see this within our sales order section. So now that my sales order has been created in Shopify, I can jump back to Clarus. You can see that my sales order from Shopify has automatically pulled through into Clarus. I can jump into this and check that it is the correct one. So you can see my test carrier has been pulled through from my Shopify order. You can see that I've got an order of one keyring and one mug. So that's all correct. I can then press save and process picks and jump through into my pick list. The next steps that I'm going to do would typically be done by a warehouse user in the warehouse floor using his handheld device. So he'll be going around and picking into a tote. So I'm going to pick into my red tote 1 and complete my picks. I'm then going to get some pack instructions so I can then pack my items into a box. So you could use the HHD for this, or you could use the packing desk functionality. Now that the pack instructions have been completed, you can see that a shipment has automatically been created. So I can submit this, and this is going to print me off a courier label. So if I refresh this, you can then see that it's been created and I have been given a tracking number. I can then dispatch my parcel when the couriers come to collect it. Okay, now the parcel has been dispatched in Clarus, I can jump over to my Shopify store and you can see instantly that it's been marked as fulfilled. This means that the completion message from Clarus has been sent to Shopify, and you can also see that the tracking number has been sent through as well.
That's how easy it is to get connected with our marketplace integration. If you need any help or support, then please feel free to reach out to our support team and we'll help get you connected. Thanks for watching, and back to you, Fred.
Thanks, Jack. That's what good integration looks like. Clear setup, dependable flow, and less manual handling between systems. And now, a few improvements that don't need a full demo, but you'll feel them every day. Not everything needs a demo. Some of the best work is simply making the system smoother, faster, and more predictable. A few notable improvements shipped alongside the headline items. Continuous replenishment. We've rolled out continuous replenishment, a fully reimagined upgrade to our pick face functionality. You can now run multiple pick faces at once, with replenishment tasks instantly triggered when inventory drops below your minimum threshold. Pick tasks are automatically evenly distributed across your pick face locations, helping teams avoid stockouts and maintain a consistent, efficient picking flow. Personal location picking. This is built for busy teams. Assign each picker their own location. No scanning, no guesswork. Clarus auto routes pick goods to the right bay every time. We're rolling out our AI assistant in a stage beta testing with selected customers. If you'd like to be part of that beta, speak to a Clarus rep. That's Q1. Not change for the sake of change. Improvements designed to make the system calmer under pressure. Cleaner handheld work, clearer task selection, stronger automations, and better integrations into the tools around you. Now, I want to leave you with what we're working on next over the coming months. Not as promises, but as a clear direction. First, schedule recurring charges. Contractual charges like storage or service fees billed automatically on a recurring basis. Reduces manual admin and improving billing accuracy. Next, enhanced stock check. Task-based stock counting completed directly in the system and automatically compared against expected stock levels, making discrepancies quicker to spot and easier to report on. Then, volume-based replenishment. Replenishment won't rely solely on fixed thresholds. Instead, stock movements can be triggered by actual pick volume, giving warehouses more control over how and when replenishment happens. And on the commercial side, step pricing. Built-in support for tiered pricing models where unit costs reduce as volume increases. Consistent, reliable billing without spreadsheets. And for visibility, custom dashboards. Configurable dashboards so users can visualize key operational data directly from their existing grids. On AI, we'll keep doing this properly. We're working towards a broader release of the AI assistant and planning a beta of the AI agents, which are purpose-built workers trained for specific roles, workflows, and tasks with tailored rules, prompts, tone, and objectives. That's where we're headed. Less manual work, clearer workflows, and a system that scales with your operation without adding complexity. It's been great to show you the progress we've made in the last few months. And if you've got questions, put them in the comments. We won't do live Q&A today, but the team will be in there after we wrap, and we'll get back to you. Thanks for joining us.